What is going on, my dudes? Welcome to Work in Progress, the daily video series where I document my studio practice as a full-time gallery artist while showing you, the viewer, what it takes to get here and stay here along the way. So we still haven't gotten our canvas in, bro, and yeah, I'm starting to fucking think, where the hell's my canvas? It should be getting here this week at some point, but you know, we've got some big projects that we're, you know, supposed to be working on. And we're not working on them because I ain't got shit to paint on, brother. So instead, you know, we gotta like pivot. We've got to do other little things in the interim, as one might say. And so what I decided for this show was like to not work on any 8x10s. I kind of just wanted to stick to the 24x36 or the 24x30s. And then, I'll be working on some 3x4 footers, and then I've got a couple of 5x6 footers there. But I kind of really wanted to stay away from the smallest size. Not really for any particular reason, just more for the sake of, like, I guess just kind of switching it up, you know, trying a different size or two for a show and just seeing how that goes. But since we don't have anything to paint on today, we are indeed going to be working on some smallies, and I've got my image up here. I've got my little setup ready to go, desktop style. And today we're going to just be working without the use of visual aids. So no projectors, no nothing. We're just going to be raw dogging it, kind of seeing how that goes. And basically the goal for this one is just to keep the painting very loose and kind of gestural, and just, you know, it's more like an experiment, but within this series. So it should be a fun sesh. What's interesting is, you know, something like this size can take, you know, when you're not using aids like projectors and stuff like that, it can take you the same amount of time as something that's like much larger where you did use aids that help you. Because all of these things are for the sake of efficiency, right? So when you don't use those, you forgo the efficiency. But today, we kind of want that, because I'm not really more like with the other ones. I've got an idea, I've got a plan for it, and I want to execute. With these are more of, you know, for the sake of experimenting and just seeing kind of what fresh little moments we can coax out of these small ones now that we're waiting for canvas to get here, which should hopefully be getting here this week. I mentioned that I'm not too worried about canvas getting here whenever it does, because, and this is, you know, remains true, I get very excited and motivated by deadlines, especially when they are impending and looming and close. So I'm not saying that I'm going to wait till the last minute to get all of this stuff done, but a little bit of delay in time is not a bad thing for me. It just kind of lights a fire under my ass and helps me just kind of really get going. So for today, it's going to be a nice slow pace on this little guy, and then I need to take my covers off of the couch and wash them, so I'm going to do that today as well. And that to me counts as like studio stuff, kind of technically, you know, because I just, you know, I get paint and stuff all over this guy, and, you know, he needs some love as well. And that's not too exciting, but that's what's going to happen today as well. So without any further ado, let's get to duders. Actually, before we get to work, oh, check it, Mike on the seatbelt. You like that? Hell yeah. So technically, I'm already done with the painting, and I'm heading home already. So, like, yeah, the recording is going to come after this, a time lapse. But man, I just wanted to say how good of a session it was on this little piece, man. It was like, it just made me think, like, dude, I need to start raw dogging more paintings, and, you know, skip the projector part. Obviously, I lose some of the likeness from the actual image that I'm working with, but I exchange that for, you know, this general impression that feels a lot closer to what the energy of the image conveys, you know, if that makes any sense. So I lose some structure, I lose some likeness, but in exchange, there's just kind of this beautiful fluidity to the whole thing that I feel like is definitely worth continuing to explore. And, you know, at this scale, it feels kind of safe. And you can see like how, you know, how much like I fumble around with things, but it's just, you know, I'll get into that right now when we get into the actual thing. But I just wanted to interject really quick and reiterate how pleased I am with today's painting sesh. And I also got a notification that my canvas is on the way. Oh baby, we're almost going to be back at full speed. And I'm sure it's going to get here this week. It'll be here any day now. I think it takes like probably 2 or 3 days or something like that. So midweek. But yeah, man, good painting sesh. I'm going to go home, edit, eat some good food, etc. None of that matters because I'll say that anyway later. But you guys, good painting sesh. Hell yeah. Well, here we go, brothers. Raw dogging the 8x10 study. So this is just basically a good, honest look into my absolutely R-worded drawing method. I prefer, instead of like trying to, you know, draw things out and stuff, I honestly just like putting paint down and then moving it around until I find the right place for it to go. I know it's probably not, you know, the most efficient method, but to me it's very effective. It takes the time that it takes, but it's just the most comfortable way for me to work. I've tried doing like the, you know, etching and and like, you know, marking the top and then marking the bottom and then making the little tubes for the legs and the tubes for the arms and putting in the skeletal structure. And you know, I just prefer this way a whole lot more. It's like direct, and I'm working with the paint, and I guess maybe I just don't enjoy drawing a whole lot, if that's not too sacrilegious for this space. I honestly, yeah, I don't enjoy it quite as much as I do just painting directly, you know, wet on wet and all that good stuff. That's not to say that there's no drawbacks to this method. You know, as you can see, it's like you've got to fumble around quite a bit before you get to where you're going, but I feel like the results are pretty good, and they're, if nothing else, just true and accurate to who I am. So, you know, it's also not something I'm super dogmatic about. I'll make shifts and adjustments if I have to, but for me, this method of doing things is just preferable. We do lose a lot of detail mainly because of the scale, though. You know, it's not, a lot of the facial expressions aren't really there, but again, that's just because of the size of the brush that I'm using. It's the scale, it's a small piece, and I'm kind of looking for something very gestural, which you'll see in the end photo actually came out pretty good, you know, facial expression wise and all that stuff. It's a little bit hard to see from this angle, but one of the things that I am going to do tomorrow, and it'll probably be the subject of tomorrow's video, is to go and give it a second pass. I think it ended up needing a bit of a second pass, especially there's one particular area that I'm thinking about, which is the neck. The way that I treated the shadow, or there's just a little bit of modulation that was not addressed, and as you can see here, the cat just took a million tries to get right, and that's kind of one of the drawbacks of not drawing first, is you have to go back and forth a lot. But the shadow on the neck under the chin kind of looks like a beard. When you see the final photo just coming up now, you'll see what I mean. And so tomorrow's video is going to be basically going back in and reworking that chin, or that shadow under the thing, because yeah, it looks kind of like a beard there, you know. It doesn't really connect to the rest of the body, although everything else, I mean, I just love these gestures, and I just feel like it worked really well. And so here I am getting my couch things ready. That's not a shit stain, by the way, I promise you. That was oil spill from like the ceiling or something that happened a long time ago in one of our old apartments. I promise it's not a shit stain. I promise you. So yeah, tomorrow's video I think is going to be a good second pass on this piece. And I kind of like that, man, because, you know, normally whenever I work with like projectors and stuff, it's just one and done. But this is actually a good opportunity to like go back in and, you know, hit it again and address some things that were not working, and then see what I can tighten up. And I think overnight it'll be dry enough to give it a second pass, and I'm very much looking forward to doing that. So thank you guys so much for your time and your attention. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.